what we do on our podcast is we usually conclude it with something called the Focus Five. So essentially, it's 5 questions that are focused on career steps and advice to give the listeners who want to be, the next you, how to break into the industry, that sort of thing. So I guess just to possibly expand on a couple of bits that we picked up earlier, just so we can sort of get down to the granular detail. Just to summarize for us, how did you get into the industry?
Yeah, so I writing my blog, as I say, was my CV, and I was able to share that with people that I looked up to in the industry, and I was fortunate enough that got picked up by a few different people. One of them was a guy called Ian Graham at Deck Tech, who's now head of research at Liverpool. Gave me an opportunity at Deck Tech at the time, which gave me a great leg up to then meet with Prozone and Blake, who hired me there out of university. So the blog for me was everything. It was I'm really proud of some of the work I did in that. And look, I was very fortunate. This was over 10 years ago now, when there wasn't a huge amount of people online who were blogging and writing about football analytics, so it was much easier to stand out from the crowd. But plenty of people that have gotten into our organisation have done it off the back of that kind of work. So I'd definitely encourage people to keep doing that as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Omar. And what would you say are the biggest challenges of getting into your industry, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so I think, again, I alluded to it a bit earlier, but I think being able to showcase skills rather than knowledge is the most important thing. So, everyone's got sport knowledge, football knowledge. Everyone watches the games. Everyone's kind of passionate about it. So the thing that will differentiate you is not because you know who Sheffield Wednesday's right back is. It's going to differentiate you because you're able to understand what that player can do at a Premier League level once you adjust for his numbers or whatever it is. That will come from some kind of analytical capability, and obviously in the field that I work in. So that is the thing that I would focus on is really kind of honing and developing those skills, because the passion will kind of develop the knowledge regardless.
Absolutely. And if you can explain to our listeners as well, the sort of route that you took to become a CIO.
Yes, I guess my role's developed a little bit from being a data scientist when I was first brought into the industry. I'm not supremely technical by any stretch. My skills have always been in communicating and translating ideas from data into insight for clients. So I've slowly kind of developed my role over time to be much more on the kind of front line of being with clients rather than necessarily in doing the analysis. And so, the development of my skills has been much more kind of client facing than it's been, I suppose, analytical. But I needed those skills to get into the industry in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. And I know this is probably quite a loaded question, probably quite challenging given the amazing stuff that you've achieved. But what would you say is the best thing about your career to date?
Wow. I mean, for me, I'm so lucky to be in a job that gives me so much diversity each day. I was actually speaking to a colleague on Friday about the various things that I've been working on, and it was so varied. It was working with the league on 3 different types of projects at once, on ranging from their kind of competition structure to the way that they run academies. It was working with a club on a technology build. It was working with a brand on an activation, and it was working with another club on a head coach hire. And that was all within, one day of work. So I'm quite lucky, to have those experiences. I know I certainly don't take it for granted. So for me to have that experience every day and to have a team around me, within the business that are able to originate those opportunities and have the same passion about those opportunities is certainly something that I'm really grateful for.
Oh, fantastic. And finally, what advice would you give to those who want to be just like you in the industry? And is there any sort of nuggets of advice that you'd like to give?
Yeah, I suppose the key point around being able to showcase your skills, just find the means to do it. And it doesn't matter what you're interested in, just kind of put it out there, and don't be afraid to get knocked down. Don't be afraid to, I look at some of the stuff I wrote when I first started blogging, most of it was crap. It's come along. I like to think it came along, as I kept going at it. So, you have to be able to differentiate yourself, in the sports industry. It's so competitive. There's so many people that want to work in it. So kind of sitting still, you're going backwards really. I think you need to be able to really think about what is it that is your niche, and what is it that makes you different about the skills that you have.